Okay, hands up, super clickbaity title. A YouTuber's got to do what a YouTuber's got to do. However, if you are into retro toys or a franchise from the 80s, slightly into the 90s, I would guess, where people bust ghosts, then this video is for you. If not, then no beef. Feel free to click on to the next video. So, as you'll have seen from the thumbnail, I have a rather large box that has been delivered, and it's something that I wanted to unbox together. I haven't looked at the contents of this yet. I'm hoping that it's all in the condition that was specified. This is an eBay purchase. It was a bit of a spur of the moment thing. Having been away last weekend for my birthday, we were chatting with family and friends about nostalgia, things we remembered, and this particular item from my childhood came up, and that was it. My ADHD kicked in, hyper focused. I must have one of these, and I was immediately on eBay sifting through. Now, most of these particular items were collection only. In fact, even this lister wasn't selling it for delivery because it's quite large, as you'll soon see. However, this particular individual, when I reached out to them, was willing to ship it at no cost to me, because they were moving house and simply wanted to move it on. So I'm hoping it's in good condition. I'm hoping it brings back all the nostalgia that I want it to, and I'm hoping you'll enjoy watching me unbox it. So let me just show you the size of this thing, and then I'm gonna have a little move around with the camera so that you can actually watch as I try and take this thing apart. So this is the box. Oh, that was delivered. Probably easier to see on this camera in terms of the size. So do a little shake. You can hear there some rattling plastic. Now this particular suite of items, so I actually bought a bundle off this individual. I was looking for one thing, which I'll show you. I got this with a few extra goodies, which may lead to an additional purchase. But anyway, let's stop waffling. Let's get the box open and I'll explain what I've bought and why I bought it as we start to go through. Also, for those regular viewers of the channel, if you hang around till the end, I have got some small collection updates, a few new games to add to the growing collection behind me, as well as a few more magazines for my ongoing Edge collection. So if you're interested in those things, they'll be right at the end of the video. But let's get on with the box. So here we go, down on the floor with this interestingly taped beast. You can see that someone went to town with the brown packing tape. They didn't want this to come open in transit, but I don't know how it's been packed in there. So we're gonna see as we go along. There's quite a bit to unbox, so let's start hacking away. And yeah, I'll show you what I've bought. So I've got the old trusty knife. Just got to try and work out how this is actually sealed. I think we can probably get in here without having to undo all of this tape. It's a very interestingly shaped box. Don't ever do that, kids. Don't pull a knife towards you. Oh, I think I might have this upside down. Well, we'll unpack it upside down. I'm sure that will be fine. What's in these things? Well, here we go. Right, let's put the knife to one side. I'm not sure we're going to need that. So let's try and pull this out upside down. Oh, it's quite in there. Any 80s children out there, or maybe 90s kids, but 80s born, will know what this is once they see it. If I can get it to come out. I don't want to break it. Here we go. Wow, this is really in. I might have to take this box apart a little further. Chuck my finger. Let's try undoing the box in a slightly different way. These sides look like they're going to come apart. Maybe we'll tip it just a little bit. See if we can get it open in a slightly different way. Oh, okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Still more tape. Well, I can't fault the eBay seller's attempts to protect this. Here we go. Now oh my God. There's a lot of bubble wrap here. So let's try and take some of this stuff out. I have to tidy all this up afterwards. There was some stuff in a bag, it's now not in a bag. Right, let's start off with one of my favourite pieces. Now these all look like they're going to need a little bit of a clean. Definitely going to need a clean. They're a little on the dusty side. Bit gross. First of all, we have, it's not going to focus on me on the toy. There we go. Good old Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. A staple of my childhood. Like I said, a little bit battered and bruised, but nothing that a little wipe won't do. Got some alcohol wipes. Got a few monsters in this format as well. They're all a bit dusty. So again, I'll try and get the camera to focus. There we go. I think this one from memory. Did he just have the eye pops out? Yeah, there we go. Not sure why that was a thing, but I better try and get it back in. Nope. I think it was one of those you'd slam it on the top and it would shoot out, but given that that is a 30 or 40-year-old toy, I'm probably not going to do that. Another classic here. Oh, he's actually thrown in a Ghostbuster. Slimer. Again, this one's going to need a little bit of a clean. You can see though, classic toys from my childhood. This is some serious nostalgia here, I have to say. Now, I don't think this is actually from the 90s. Now, it's far too articulate to have been from the 90s. It's obviously Ghostbusters. This is the, I'm going to call it like the hounds or the dogs from the movies. This is very articulate. I'm assuming this is a more modern release. When I saw it on the picture, I thought, I don't remember having one of those as a kid. Because most of this stuff was based on the cartoon series, I think, rather than anything specifically from the movie. He's very much movie based, he's very articulate. But it's a cool thing to have, and it will still go well with the Ghostbusters. Then we have got a random Ghostbuster. Well, I think this guy's just lobbed stuff in here. This is not the best. Look at the state of that. Is that going to focus? Yeah, it's missing the leg. I can see the legs in here, but I didn't buy it for that. It wasn't even meant to be included. I am looking at buying the Ghostbusters separately. Everything is a little bit chucked in though, and he seems to have thrown some bonus things in. So we've got a ghost in a chair. I think that's, again, not from the original Kenner stuff, I don't believe. Come on, camera. No, not having that one. I'll show you some B-roll of all this anyway. In fact, it says on the bottom, Ghostbusters. My eyesight's terrible. I'll try and look what that says later on. We've got the doors to the main thing here in a second. We've also got this American footballer guy. I think his head does something. Is it squeeze his legs or something? I'm not sure how you do it now. He's got, oh, is it just pull his head? He's got something that makes him do something creepy. We're going to have to look at what that is. Then we've got, he hasn't sent everything that he was supposed to have sent. I'm going to have a little chat. So this is the top of the containment unit, but the rest of it hasn't been sent by the looks of it. Although, I don't know if there's anything in these side panels. I have to cut some more of the box. It's often a risk with eBay sellers is that you don't get everything that you paid for, but these, I don't think there's anything in these. Anyway, let's quickly carry on. So here we've got another key component of the Ghostbusters. Whoops. We've got, of course, Ecto 1. Again, from the pictures, it looks in pretty good condition. I think in the flesh, needs a bit of an alcohol wipe, but actually the stickers are all intact. Often they aren't on these things, as I've been looking around. It is missing, I think, the chair that goes on top, but again, I'm not too worried about that for the purposes of why I bought this. So we've got Ecto 1. We've still got some more monsters in here, but I'm just going to pull all these out. A lot of these are the ones that came with the Ghostbusters back in the day. I'll show all these in a bit of B-roll. They're all the little sort of like rubbery, translucent ghosts. So they provided a bunch of those, which, as I said, would have come with the original Ghostbusters themselves. Got another creature in here that I don't recognise, even from Ghostbusters. I think that's just some random toy. Again, I'll show you that in the B-roll. We've got a leg from our Ghostbuster. And then we've got the main reason for buying this, the nostalgia. So again, original stickers, you can tell because they're low quality printing and they're a bit creased. Here it is. It is, of course, the Ghostbusters fire station. This is a Kenner Toys release. I think it's all intact. We'll just grab, oh, there's a couple more ghosts in there still. It's just one bit of railing missing here, which I'll sort out. As said, the containment unit is missing, so I'm gonna have to message him about that. But that's fine. And we've even got the fire pole, which was always a pain in the backside to use. I'm sure that squeaking's coming across real nice on the audio. Yeah. So if you remember, this would sit at the top. Oops. Like so. Lock it in place. And then when you're ready to send your Ghostbusters down, and then I think under the weight it would spin all the way to the bottom, like so. And I'm going to give this a clean up before I do any kind of glamour shots on it, but the main reason for buying this and the conversation that started the discussion in the first place was it's these on the top, this grill on the top here. Oh, what's that in there? Oh, it's come off something. That was broken somewhere. I'm not sure what that's come from, but I'll try and suss it out. Oh, is it? Oh, there it is. It's the peg that holds this in place. That can be glued, that's easy enough to fix. Anyway, yeah, so the thing that I bought it for ultimately, for those who remember this back in the day, is this grill on the top here. We were talking about slime. My children are obsessed with slime, as I'm sure any adult of young kids at the moment is. And I remember having this as a kid, and I think we put the slime through once that came with it, and it's like a purple goo, and it would drip through, and it would go into this next grill here in the middle, and then it would drop through, and you could basically slime your Ghostbusters. Problem with it was, this stuff was a nightmare to clean, and it dried and went all crusty, and I think for the entire time that I had this thing as a kid, it was basically just riddled with crusty goo. So, you know, you used it once and never ever again. So yeah, well, that's it. I think that's everything in the box. So I'm gonna just double check that there's nothing else in here. I'm gonna have to send the eBay seller a message because they haven't sent everything that was expected. That's okay, not the end of the world. It happens. I'm sure they can ship the extra bits out that should have been in here. These are just, I just think they're just for packing. Yeah, so I will give it a clean up, and I'll show you as I'm giving it a bit of a wipe down. I'm going to use some alcohol wipes. I've got a whole bunch of them, just to get some of the dust off and give them a bit of a polish, and then we'll try and work out where in the hell I'm going to store it or display it. But yeah, so that's the Ghostbusters tower. That was what was in the box. And there you have it. That is the Ghostbusters fire station and a bunch of random ghosts cleaned and tidied up. I am genuinely really happy with it. It's in as good as condition as you can expect from a 1980s toy. I don't know if you saw briefly in the clips I was showing there as I was cleaning that Stay Puft the Marshmallow Man has 84. I think it was 84. Yeah, 1984 written on the bottom, which is insane. I think the fire station is similarly aged, somewhere in the mid-80s. Now, I was born in 83, so the fact that the stuff is as old as me and is in the condition that it's in is great. I paid a little over £100 for all of this. I have emailed the eBay seller about the missing containment unit, so we'll see if that turns up or they come through on that. I hope they will. I hope they're decent about it, because that was part of the listing, and you know, it means I'll have to go and chase that down separately. But overall, for what I wanted to do with it and what I was looking to relive, it's absolutely done it. I need to find a really suitable spot now, somewhere in here. I've got no idea where I'm going to put it. That wasn't really part of the plan when I bought it. But yeah, so hopefully that's tickled your nostalgia bones. If you were a child of the 80s and 90s, did you have the Ghostbusters fire station? I'd love to know your thoughts or memories on that below. Has that sparked anything for you? Or was that not your jam? Or are you seeing this thing for the first time and thinking, God, weren't toys great in the 80s? And yes they were. So I said I would finish with a few pickups, and I want to do that now. So I have a couple of games and then an update on my Edge magazine collection. So let's start with the games first. Now these were vintage pickups, all in incredibly good condition, I have to say, from this particular seller. So really happy with them. They're not big hitters by any stretch, but they're things that mean something to me, which is what I collect. It's what I built this room around. It's not about having the most expensive collectibles. So the first one is PlayStation 1, and it's the Die Hard trilogy. Now, I am a massive Die Hard fan. 1, 2 and 3, the trilogy. I'm not so bothered about 4 and everything after that. Well, we don't talk about. But the Die Hard trilogy as a game was one that I loved back in the day. I played it for the first time on a friend's PlayStation and was blown away. I didn't have access to a PS1 at the time, but we did have a Sega Saturn, or my granddad did, so I do own it somewhere on the Sega Saturn as well, I think. In fact, yep. Let me just grab that to prove as much. There's my Sega Saturn copy, in pretty good condition, again from my childhood. I've always loved this game. I wanted to own it on the PlayStation, as I think it probably runs a little better on there. It's how I remember experiencing it for the first time, and the condition of this one, considering the age again, and the way these jewel cases tend to go, is exceptional. So I'm really pleased with that, and look forward to adding that to the PS1 collection. I might even stream that one evening just for fun. It's a bit easier to stream from the PlayStations and the Saturn. And while I was buying from that individual, what I like to do when I'm on Vinted, and I'm sure everyone does this, is I always have a look to see if the person I'm buying from has a few other things that I'd be interested in. And then if I can build a little bundle and maybe knock a bit of money off, everyone wins. They tend to be happy, and you get something at a better price. So that's what I did with this one. I think Die Hard was listed at about £15, and I added a couple of games in and then took the price down overall. So the first one, these were a couple of pound each, so they really didn't add much to the overall price. Xbox One, Shadow of Mordor. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, like a lot of geeky people like me. Lord of the Rings was a big thing 20 years ago now, I guess. And this game was one that kind of passed me by a little bit. I remember having it. I think it might have been a rental, or maybe I purchased it and then got rid of it. I'm not sure. It might even have been a Game Pass download. I gave it a little bit of time, but it didn't really sit with me. But I'd like to go back, and I'm really interested in the Nemesis system that everyone raves about and talks about as being something that we seem to have invented. Everyone loved it, and then it got lost, and it's never really sort of resurfaced. So that was the reason for buying it. It was a couple of pounds, one to add to the Xbox One collection. And then at the same time, and this is an awful game, I'm sure. In fact, I think this was a love film for me back in the day. Rental. And but it's in excellent condition, and I've been trying to find it as a non-platinum. I see this one quite a lot in CX, but it's normally the platinum version. I tend to try and avoid buying those if I can. And it is 24 the game. As I said, I know this is rubbish. I'm pretty sure I played it back in the day and it was terrible, but I loved this TV show. Absolutely loved 24 back in the day. Every season. I mean, it got a little tired towards the end. It got a little bit crazy, but it was still a great formula. Jack Bauer, what a character. And I thought when I saw this in this guy's bundle, and it looks super clean, looks like it's never been played. The disc is immaculate, the instruction book immaculate. I had to add it to the collection. So those are my 3 video game pickups. And then I won't take you through all of these because I don't think people are all that interested, but if you are into what I'm doing with the Edge magazines, then check out the video I did a couple of weeks ago where I talked about starting to aim for this full collection, and also how I'm cataloguing them through a little app that I've built with some vibe coding. So here is another stack. I'm not going to take you through them all. There are, I think, about 15 to 20 in this stack. A number of them are more modern, so this chunk here are more modern, and I'll just show you this very quickly because this is why I do this. When I opened this particular package from the seller, I was like, oh, this is why I'm buying these things. Look at that for cover art. Tell me that isn't the coolest thing. Let's try and get it to focus. Come on, camera. Come on, camera. There we go. Look at that. And so many of these covers are beautiful like that. And Mario obviously very vibrant and colourful, but there's like holofoils in here that are really cool. So, you know, part of it for me is just marvelling at the artwork. These more modern ones get me a chunk closer to the more recent stuff. So these, I say modern, yeah, these are all in the sort of 2019 to 2023 range. And then this sort of stack here came from a different seller. These vary a little bit from, what we're looking at, 2012, a couple in 2012. I'm not sure when this one was done, 2000. God, feels like such a long time ago now. Another one in 2000, look at that. The old PS1 for some reason hooked up to a mobile phone. Weird. And anything further back than that? No, that's 2008. So a bit of a mixed bag there. I had found a seller on Vinted who I had offered a sort of decent price for about 50 plus issues, and we were that close to getting a deal sorted. And then unfortunately he had to come off Vinted for a little while. Sounds like some life problems, so I doubt he's watching, but if you were for some reason, I hope everything's okay. So maybe that deal will come back round at some point in the future. There's also a seller that I've bought a number of these off who has a bunch more. He's about 2 or 3 hour drive from me. So I'm weighing up whether to do a road trip. If you'd like to see that and you'd like to see me go off and try and add to that collection, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll do that in the future video. One more pickup for you just to show you as well. Novelty Game Room Edition. I was down in our favourite place in North Devon with the kids for my birthday a couple of weeks ago, last weekend, sorry. And there's a surf shop down there in Croyd Bay called the Little Pink Surf Shop. And for some reason, he also sells a lot of Pokemon stuff as well as surfboards. And he has an incredibly cool Santa Cruz Gengar limited edition skateboard, which I've nearly bought off him in the past, but it's on display there. And every time I see it, I wish I'd bought it from him when I had the chance. But I picked the kids up a couple of Pokemon plushies, and I had to pick this bad boy up for the room. Snorlax has always been one of my favourites. I'm a Gen 1 lover. I am delighted to have Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. We've bought copies of that for our Switches and we've started playing them because it's so cool to be able to go back and revisit the early days. And those remakes are a really nice way to do that. So yeah, Snorlax is my final edition. So I hope you found the video interesting. I know it's a little bit random. We've got retro toys, we've got a little bit of video games, we've got some magazines, but that's what this man cave is now becoming. I found my love of DVDs again, CDs, specifically music soundtracks, my magazine collection. It's just turning into a room that fills me with joy. And you know, I hope in your own man caves or your own games room that you're doing the same. And I hope seeing mine come together gives you some joy as well and some nostalgia. I love looking at this stuff, and it's not that I'm not living in the now, but there's a lot to like about the world we live in now. There's a lot stressful as well. But this stuff just reminds me of a simpler time. Simpler for me as a child and as growing up, but also just simpler because we didn't have to deal with some of the stuff that we had thrown at us in the last decade. So yeah. Anyway, without getting too deep, thank you so much for watching, sticking through to this point. If you have got this far, let me know in the comments your thought on the video, any ideas, anything really about this that you want to know more about as well. I am planning a room tour in the coming weeks. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Catch me in all the social places that are popping up on screen at various points in the last few minutes, and I will see you in the next video.